It is 9:30. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our coverage of the March primary. I'm Rekha Muttaraj.
And I'm Rod Trevino. We're joined again by two political experts to break down tonight's results. Political analyst Bob Stein and Charles Blaine with urban reform.
We want to start with a look at where things stand with the state's 8th congressional district race following the announcement of Kevin Brady's retirement. If we take a look at the screen now, after 13 terms. Now, this district includes northern Houston and the Woodlands. Almost a dozen Republicans were on the ballot, and Morgan Luttrell ahead of the pack with 54% of the votes. Of course, for Democrats, the lone candidate, Chris Jones, is uncontested. Now, let's take a look at Congressional District 38. This is the newest House seat, which was created after the last census. It spans from the Energy Corridor and then goes north to Cypress and Tomball. For the Democrats, Diana Alexander with 43% of the votes now. Duncan Klusman with 42, close behind. And
10 Republicans also vying for the spot, including Wesley Hunt, who has received 56% of the votes. Mark Ramsey trailing with 31%. Charles, Hunt was the front runner with an endorsement from former President Trump. Is he set for November?
It seems to be. I mean, you know, I think Mark Ramsey was the biggest thing that came in that race because he came in with the support of Sid Miller. He came in with the support of Wayne Christian, both statewide elected officials. He also came in with the support of Mays Middleton, who's the chairman of the Texas House Freedom Caucus, as well as some other conservative representatives. And so that boosted him up to that 31. But it looks like Wesley's good to go heading into November. And because that district, the way that it's drawn, it's likely that he's not really going to have much of a challenge in November either.
All right, let's go now to the race for Harris County Judge. This was a big one with 6 Democrats in the race. Incumbent Lena Hidalgo leading with almost 70%, right there, 70% of the votes. But since her win in 2018, Republicans have been trying to reclaim this position after Judge Ed Emmett had it for a long time. So a lot of Republicans out for this spot.
Yeah, and on the Republican side, a crowded race with 9 candidates. Alex Miller with 31%. Vidal Martinez with 25%, so I believe they're going to be in a runoff.
Yeah, my guess is that Alexandra Miller, is I'd give her the edge in a runoff. She had some heavy endorsements. She got a nice resume with a military background. Vidal Martinez is a bit of a surprise. I mean, he's been around a long time, but not been a candidate. And the 25 to 31, we'll see how that holds up because we're waiting for some other ballots to come in from Election Day. I think the story on the Democratic side is more interesting. And Charles raised this question before. Erica Davis had raised a question with the judge's ability to fight crime. And this is crime in communities of color that have been debating things like bail bond reform. And many thought that this would be a good issue for a Democrat attacking another Democrat. And I think the short answer is didn't work. But what's interesting, and we're seeing a lot of this comment, we were talking about it before, a lot of Democratic judges are getting defeated. And I think the story here is the same as this. If you're a Democratic county, nobody gets a free ride. The primary is where the action is, and so particularly for judges, whether you're a county judge or not, you're going to run against and challenge incumbents.
But are you surprised by the number of candidates, I mean, going out for this position? I think a lot of people looked at it and thought, well, that's a lot, especially for the Democrats.
I think the idea here is the primary is the election. There is no real general election here. I think whoever the Democratic nominee is, they will win in November. I think that's the same when you have congressional seats. What both parties have done is to protect their bases. And I think in this case, when you have that, you look at the primary and say, Lena Hidalgo was, let's be honest, a fluke to many people in November 2018. No one is giving her a free ride, but she's proven.
Do you agree, Charles?
No, I mean, I wouldn't say it's a foregone conclusion that she's going to pull it off in November. I think given the attitude of the electorate, given the issues with crime, if something ends up coming out with the contract that we spoke offline about, but there is an issue with Lena Hidalgo and a contract and a potential DA's investigation. And so if some of these things come to fruition and voters get wind of it and they actually latch on to these issues heading into November, I think it could cause trouble for her. So I wouldn't say it's a foregone conclusion, and it really depends on who does come out of the Republican primary. I mean, I think that what's really interesting about that race is Alex Miller got this groundswell of grassroots support from precinct chairs and folks like that, whereas Vidal Martinez was a really well-funded candidate. At the 30-day report, he had about $500,000 left in his account that he just kind of pumped into this race towards the end. And so I do think that if she gets out of this runoff and continues with that grassroots support, it could give a challenge to the Democrats in November.
All right.
It'll take what I think Charles said. It'll take an event unanticipated, a crisis. The same things that are pulling down AG candidate and AG Paxson. The problem here is that lines are drawn. Yeah, this is a blue county.
A long fight still ahead. Yeah. All right, let's go to Grace White now. She's looking at the maps and telling us what she's seeing. Hey, Grace.
Hey, Ron Reka, we're looking at results live on our big board here. Here's one of the hottest races of the night. It's the race for Attorney General. I want to show you statewide. Then we're going to zoom into Harris County. You'll notice things start to change. Statewide, Paxton, the incumbent, leading at 42%. Bush behind him at 21%. Guzman at 20%. Gomert at 17%. But then if you zoom in here specifically to Harris County, this is local Harris County results only, you'll see things start to change. Not on top, Paxton still there, 43%. But Guzman now in second place, just in Harris County at 30%, Bush at 15%. So they flip-flop, and that's important because really the question of the night is, will Paxton avoid a runoff? Or if he can't get 50%, which one of these challengers will join him in that runoff? So that's the race for Attorney General. I want to show you one more thing as we stay in Harris County, the governor's race. Let's look at totals there coming in live to our big board just for Harris County on the governor's side. Beto O'Rourke at 93%. As you can see, the clear winner there just for Harris County. And again, on the Republican side, Abbott also doing very well, 66% his vote turnout in Harris County.
All right, Grace, thank you so much. And before we go, we want to mention Governor Abbott is expected to speak in just a few minutes at 10 o'clock from his election night party. This is happening in Corpus Christi. The Associated Press, again, reporting that he has won the Republican nomination for governor. He will go up against Beto O'Rourke, who has won the Democratic nomination. And we will be live streaming Abbott's event when it begins on KHOU.com.
And remember, for election results sent straight to your phone, just text the word VOTE to 713-526-1111. Stick around for live team coverage on KHOU 11 News at 10.
Baby, treat it with respect. And don't rub my wood, get your own, all right?
All right.